Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out this evening. So let me give you a quick little synopsis of this project that I just am releasing this evening. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a really long time, is to record some of my favorite Irish songs. And mostly old traditional ones, but there's a couple of more contemporary ones as well. And I had some time after Christmas, or I guess after New Year's, where I wasn't doing a whole lot of playing. I was home, and I had all the tools at home, so I did all the recording at home, and then I sent it away to my friend in Kingston, Matt Bates, who has Long Shot Studios, and he did all he did the mixing and the mastering, and then sent it away. So I'm going to try and do. There's 13 tracks on the album, and I'm gonna try and do them all for you this evening. So you get a sense of what's on there. I'll start off with a one. This is a County Clare song called Spancel Hill. Last night as I lay dreaming of pleasant days gone by, my mind bent on rambling, to Ireland I did fly. I stepped on board a vision, and I followed with the will, till next I came to anchor at cross at Spancel Hill. It'd been on the 23rd of June, a day before the fair, when Ireland's sons and daughters and friends assembled there. The young, the old, the brave and the bold came their duty fulfill at the parish church in Clooney, a mile from Spancel Hill. I went to see my neighbors, to see what they might say. The old ones were all dead and gone, and the young ones turning gray. I met the tailor quickly, he's as bold as ever still. He used to mend my breeches when I lived at Spancel Hill. I paid a flying visit to my first and only love. She's as white as any lily, as gentle as a dove. She threw her arms around me, saying, "Johnny, I love you still." She's Nell, the farmer's daughter, and the pride of Spancel Hill. I dreamt I held and kissed her, as in the days of yore. She said, "Johnny, you're only joking, as many's the time before." The cock, it crew in the morning, it crew both loud and shrill. I awoke in California, many miles songs from Spencel Hill. Thank you. So I named the album Creggan White Hare, and this next song is the title track of the album. So this song is called The Creggan White Hare, and the story behind this song is it was written by a fellow by the name of James Malloy. It's one of these kind of middle song. It's not really all that contemporary, but it's not really, really old either. It was sort of early 20th century because it talks about cars and motor cars. But the story of this song, it's all about a white hare around the town of Creggan, which is in County Tyrone in Northern Ireland, that is being a bit of a nuisance to the crops and the farmers. And so each verse is an attempt for some of these farmers and hunters to get rid of the nuisance hare, but it's just too fast and clever to be caught. When I was learning this song, this is called a ballad, and literally, it is a story song. And ballads tend to be equated these days as like slow songs that you might dance, cuddle up with your loved one with. But the ballad, it's telling a story, and so this is a story song, and it's got a lot of verses and a lot of words. So what I usually do when I'm learning new songs is I just listen to them over and over again. And the car tends to be I spend a lot of time driving, so I listen to songs driving quite a bit. And now that Heather and I spend a sizable amount of our lives being taxi drivers for our children, sometimes our kids are in the car. So thankfully, Lauren came to really like this song. So I was learning it around when she was quite a bit younger, I think, when I first started learning it. I think she was maybe 7 or 8, and she said she really liked it because it was kind of like a movie. She could picture what was going on. Now, she didn't always quite understand some of the phrases and some of the language, so she would often ask, "Okay, so what's happening now? Like what? Who's trying to get the hare now?" And so I won't spoil it and tell you whether or not the hare makes it out okay. You'll have to listen to the song. And I should let you know that if you want some definitive evidence that spring is just around the corner, this is a really hard time for guitar strings and bouzouki strings to stay in tune. The changing of the seasons, so. All right, here we go. This is the Creggan White Hare. Pardon? And the robins, well, yeah. In the lowlands of Creggan there lives a white hare, and it's swift as the swallow that flies through the air. You may tramp the world over, but none to compare to the pride of old Creggan, that bonny white hare. One clear autumn morning, as you will suppose, oh, the red golden sun o'er the green mountain rose. Barney Conway came down and he did declare, "Oh, this day I'll put an end to the bonny white hare." So he searched through the lowlands and down through the glens, all along the wild ditches where the white hare had danced, till at last coming down over the heather so fair, from behind a wild thistle out jumps the white hare. Bang, bang went his guns and his dogs he sent to, as swift as the wind o'er the green mountain flew. But his dogs soon came back and this made Barney sigh, for he knew that the white hare had bid him goodbye. And we're some jolly sportsmen down here from Pomeroy, from Cookstown, Dungannon, and likewise the Moy. With our pedigree greyhounds we've travelled from far, and we've come down to Creggan in our fine motor car. Oh, well, in through the lowlands these huntsmen did go, in search of the white hare they looked high and low, till at last Barney Conway from a turf bank so rare shouted out to the huntsman, "There lies the white hare." So they called up their greyhound from off the green lea. Barney and the huntsman all jumped high with glee. It was there on the turf bank all gathered around, 7 dogs and 9 men did that poor hare surround. Oh, no wonder that white hare did tremble in fear, as she stood on her hind legs she would raise her big ears. Oh, she stood on her hind legs with one gallant spring, she jumped over the greyhounds and broke through the ring. Well, a chase it went on, it was a beautiful view, as swift as the wind o'er the green mountain flew. But those pedigree greyhounds, they didn't run too far. They came back and went home in their fine motor car. And there came another man, and you all know him well. Oh, his name it was McKelly with bonny black bell. In search of the white hare, today I'll have fun. I bet 50 to 1 my black bell will her turn. 5 turns the hare got then from bonny black bell, and the 6th one was given around John Haughty's well. It was there we lost sight of the hare and the dog, and then 10 minutes later rolled o'er the black bog. Well, a chase it went on, it was great for to see, the white hare and the black dog both roam wide and free, till she traveled to Esker where she knew the lands well. At the bonny black bell there soon bid farewell. And now to conclude and to finish this rhyme, oh, I hope you'll forgive me for singing all this while. If there's any amongst you up in Carrickmore Fair, please drink of a health to that bonny white hare. There we go. Thank you. So the hair made it out okay. This next one is what I've been singing for a very, very long time, and yet I still have no idea where it came from or how old it is. It's not that old. It doesn't sound like an older song. I first heard it off of a recording from a wonderful group from Newfoundland called the Masterless Men, and the only information that was on their recording was it said CopCon, and which turned out to be like a publishing company, like a publisher that represents songwriters. So which indicated that it was not public domain. At least it wasn't 20 years ago when they recorded it. I've seen another recording by a group called the Dublin City Ramblers, but I wasn't able to get any more information on that either. So it's a bit of a mystery. But I like the song. It might have actually been the first song I ever actually had the chance to sing in Ireland. When Heather and I and the girls, we went to Ireland in 2015, we visited cousins of Heather's near Omagh in Northern Ireland, and Ollie took us out to a session in their little town it's called 6 Mile Cross, and so I sat in on the session and they asked me to sing a song, and so I think this was the first one that I sang, and they more or less knew it. So it's made its way around, but I just don't know anything about it. It's the only track on the album that I wasn't really able. There's ones that are just old enough that I just said traditional because the writer has been lost to the sands of time. But yeah, this one's really doesn't sound that old. Anyway, it's called Botany Bay. My ship, she sails in the morning for half a world away. So raise your glasses just once more, ye friends of yesterday. We laugh with pride, but side by side we live long day to day. And I wonder, are there friends like you on the shores of Botany Bay? Farewell, you little narrow streets, I wondered as a child. Farewell, you kindly neighbors, I used to drive you wild. I'm bound for South Australia, a land of great renown. Have a drink today before I say farewell to my native town. The doors were never bolted and the hearth, it shone like steel. The kettle's always boiling, it's a welcome you can feel. There's bread upon the table and whiskey in the tay. And I wonder, are there friends like you on the shores of Botany Bay? Farewell, you little narrow streets, I wondered as a child. Farewell, you kindly neighbors, I used to drive you wild. I'm bound for South Australia, a land of great renown. Have a drink today before I say farewell to my native town. Good memories flow, but I must go. Good neighbors, take my hand. It's not for want of comrades I leave this native land. We laughed and sang, the rafters rang, sure as in my spring day. And I'll shed a tear every mile from here to the shores of Botany Bay. Farewell, you little narrow streets I wandered as a child. Farewell, you kindly neighbors I used to drive you wild. I'm bound for South Australia, a land of great renown. Have a drink today before I say farewell to my native town. Have a drink today before I say farewell to my native town. Thank you. This next one might be the oldest song on the album. This is one that was composed by a famous Irish harpist named Turlough O'Carolan. He traveled around the countryside, staying in sort of richer people's homes and composed tunes as compensation, and compiled. I think there's over 200 O'Carolan tunes. This one's probably the most famous. It's been recorded the most. This is also the one that I kind of went a little crazy with as far as the instrumentation, because I had time on my hands and I had a room full of instruments. And I loved the melody so much. I put on so this is some Irish bouzouki and some banjo and some guitar and some button accordion and tin whistle. I stopped short at like bagpipes or something like that. But so it's called Shabag Shamor, which is Irish for large fairy mound, small fairy mound, or big fairy mound, little fairy mound. Now, fairy mounds can be seen throughout Ireland. They're the fairies. That's kind of where my understanding is. That I don't know if that's where they live or if that's where that's their portal from their world to our world. And my good friend Brendan Wall, who goes by the nickname Stony, he describes the whole mythos of the fairies. Is that nobody believes in the fairies, but they're there. That's kind of the. And they do affect projects. If there's a motorway that's going to be built, they will go around the fairy mound so as to not disturb it and incur the wrath of the fairies. All right. Here we go. Thank you. All right, here's another one of those ballad songs. This is one of my, I have like two favorite Irish songs at the moment. So it's moving goalposts all the time, but these days I have two favorite Irish songs. This is one of them, and you'll hear the other one a little later. But this one's called Arthur McBride, sometimes called Arthur McBride and the Recruiting Sergeant. And the story of this song is another ballad, as I say. So the story of this one, these two Irish cousins are walking along the beach one Christmas morning, and they meet up. They happen upon a recruiting sergeant and his entourage. There's a corporal and a little wee drummer. And if you want to feel bad for anybody in the story, feel bad for the little wee drummer, because I think he gets pretty tough go in this song, because he's just minding his own business. But anyway, so they say hello, and then the recruiting sergeant sees these young guys and starts into a pitch of trying to enlist them. This is during the Napoleonic Wars. So he gives them a whole bunch of reasons why it would be a really good idea for them. Now, they're not interested at all, and they decline the offer, but then they kind of go so far as to refute a lot of the reasons that the recruiting sergeant gave. And that doesn't go over well, and then it just devolves into a giant fist fight on the beach, and the young lads beat the stuffing out of the recruiting sergeant and his crew. And the poor wee drummer, in addition to getting beaten up, he gets his drum thrown into the ocean. So, Merry Christmas. Me and me cousin one Arthur McBride, as we went walking out by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning. Out for recreation we went on a tramp, and we met Sergeant Napper and Corporal Venn, and a little wee drummer intending to camp, for the day being pleasant and charming. Good morning, the sergeant did cry, and the same to you, gentlemen, we did reply, intending no harm, but meant to pass by, for it being on Christmas morning. But says he, my fine fellows, if you would enlist, it's 10 guineas in gold I will slip in your fist, and a crown in the bargain for to kick off the dust and drink the king's health in the morning. For a soldier he leads a very fine life, and he always is blessed with a charming young wife, and he pays all his debts without sorrow or strife, and always lives pleasant and charming. And a soldier he always is decent and clean, in the finest of clothing he's constantly seen, while other poor fellows go dirty and mean, and sup on thin gruel in the morning. But says Arthur, I wouldn't be proud of your clothes, for you've only the lend of them, as I suppose. And you dare not change them one night, for you know if you do, you'll be flogged in the morning. And although that we are single and free, we take great delight in our own company. And we have no desires, strange faces to see, although that your offers are charming. And we have no desires to take your advance, all hazards and dangers we barter on chance. For you would have no scruples for to send us to France, where we would get shot without warning. But now, says the sergeant, I'll have no such chat, and I neither will take it from Spalpy nor Brat. And if you insult me with one other word, I'll cut off your heads in the morning. And then Arthur and I, we soon drew our hods, and we scarce gave them time for to draw their own blades, when a trusty shillelagh came over their heads and bade them take that as fair warning. And their old rusty rapiers that hung by their sides, we flung them as far as we could in the tide. Oh, take them out, devils, cried Arthur McBride, and temper their wrench in the morning. And the little wee drummer, we flattened his pow, and we made a football of his rowdy dow-dow. Threw it in the tide for to rock and to roll, and bade it a tedious returning. And we have no money, paid them off in cracks, and we paid no respects to their two bloody backs. For we lathered them there like a pair of wet sacks, and left them for dead in the morning. And now to conclude and to finish disputes, we obligingly asked if they wanted recruits. For we were the lads who would give them hard clouts and bid them look sharp in the morning. Me and me cousin, one Arthur McBride, as we went a walking out by the seaside. Now mark what followed and what did betide, for it being on Christmas morning. Thank you. All right, I'm going to try an a cappella song. This is one called "The Old Triangle," and it's all about a jail in Dublin. And if you feel like singing, the kind of the refrain part is really easy. It's just the words are: "The old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal." So it goes, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. So that you're going to hear that a bunch. So if you pick up on it, then please help me out. So here we go. A hungry feeling came o'er me stealing, and the mice were squealing in my prison cell. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. To begin the morning A screw was bawling, "Get up, you bowsy, and clean up your cell." And the old triangle went jingle, jangle, all along the banks of the Royal Canal. The lags were sleeping, Humpy Gussie was creeping, as I lay there weeping for my girl Sal. And the old triangle went jingle, jangle, all along the banks of the Royal Canal. Up in the female prison, there are 75 women, and among them I wish I did dwell. Then the old triangle could go jingle, jangle, all along the banks of the Royal Canal. All along the banks of the Royal Canal. Thank you. Thanks. Heard some voices there. Well, this is also a Dublin jail song. It's a bit of a sadder one. This tells the story of Grace Gifford, and she was engaged to be wed to Joseph Mary Plunkett in 1916. So this is around the time there was the uprising in 1916 in Dublin, and Joseph Mary Plunkett was one of the. He was caught. They took over the General Post Office, the GPO, and the authorities came and captured the ringleaders, and they were quite. They executed all the head ones, including Joseph Mary Plunkett, and that, well, there's way too much Irish history to then that sort of is part of a chapter that has many chapters, or a book that has many chapters. But anyway, this is really just a love story between Grace Gifford, Joseph Mary Plunkett. He was sentenced to be executed in the morning, but they allowed her to come into Kilmainham jail and be married just an hours before he was to be shot by firing squad. And he was a poet, and the last verse, there's a reference to some of his lines. He actually wrote some of his poetry on the walls of Kilmainham jail in Dublin. So anyway, this is called Grace. As we gather in the chapel here in old Kilmainham jail, I think about these past few weeks. Oh, will they say we failed? From our school days they have told us we must yearn for liberty. Yet all I want in this dark place is to have you here with me. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn I place this wedding ring upon your finger, there won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I bear for these brave men, my love for this dear land. But when Padraig called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own sick bed. To him I had to go. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. And now the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walk out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall so everyone will know I love so much that I could see his blood upon the rose. Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn, now I must die. With all my love I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. There won't be time to share our love, now we must say goodbye.
Thanks very much.
Going to do a song on the Boweron now. This one's called The Rocky Road to Dublin. Well, in the merry month of May, from me home I started, left the girls at home so sad and broken hearted, saluted father dear. Kiss me, darling mother, drank a pint of beer, my grief and tears to smother, then up to reap the corn. Leave where I was born, I cut a stout that going to Banish Coast and Gobble and bought a pair of brogues, wrapped that over the bogs, frighten all the dogs on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly ride. In Mullingar that night I rested, and so weary started at daylight next morning bright and early. Took a drop of the pure, keep me heart from sinking, that's a penny's cure. Whenever he's on for drinking, to see the lassie smile, laughing all the while at me curious doubts would set your heart a bubbling nest. If I was hired, wages I required, I was almost tired of the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin, whack the lolly ride. In Dublin next arrived, I thought it such a pity to be so soon deprived of you at that fine city. Then I took a stroll out among the quality bundle. It was still out in a neat locality. Something crossed my mind, then I looked behind. No bundle could I find upon my stick. A wobble inquiring for the brogue. Send me con it brogue, wasn't much in vogue. On the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin whack the lolly ride. From there I got away, my spirits never failing, landed on the quay just as the ship was sailing. Captain up me roared, said that no room had he. Then I jumped aboard a cabin found for Paddy. Down among the pigs, played some funny jigs, did some hearty reels, the water around me bubbling when I fully had, wishing I was dead, better far instead. On the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin whack the lolly ride. The boys of Liverpool, when we safely landed, called myself a fool, I could no longer stand it. Blood began to boil, temper I was losing, poor old Erin's Isle. They began abusing her on me, so says I, shillelagh I let fly. Galway boys were by and saw I was a hobbling with a loud hooray, joining the affray, quickly cleared the way for the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hunt the hare and turn her down the rocky road, and all the way to Dublin whack the lolly ride. All right, I'm going to try one. This is one from County Antrim. It's called Carrickfergus. I should mention this is the only one. So I didn't go crazy with the instrumentation, but I was only limited by my own ability and the instruments that I had, of which Heather will tell you there are a lot in the gear room. But this one I just wanted. This is the only one that's just one just guitar and voice, and it is what it is. I just I pressed record and started playing. I wish I was in Carrickfergus only 4 nights in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, the deepest ocean, for my love to find. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, neither have I the wings to fly. If I could find me a handsome boatman to ferry me over to my love and I. My boyhood days bring back sad reflections of happy times so long ago. My childhood friends and my own relations have all passed on now, like melting snow. So I'll spend my days in endless roaming. Soft is the grass, my bed is free. Ah, to be back now in Carrickfergus on that long road down to the sea. Down in Kilkenny, it is reported there are marble stones there as black as ink, with gold and silver. I would support her, but I'll sing no more now till I get a drink. I'm drunk today, and I'm seldom sober, a handsome rover from town to town. Ah, but I'm sick now, and my days are numbered. So come all ye young lads and lay me down. I wish I was in Carrickfergus only for nights in Ballygrand. Thank you. Well, this is another love song. This one's called The Galway Shawl. In Oranmore, in the county Galway, one pleasant evening in the month of May, I spied a damsel. She was young and handsome, and her beauty fairly stole my heart away. She wore no jewels, no costly diamonds, no paint nor powder, no nothing at all. She wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulder she wore a Galway shawl. We kept on walking, and we kept on talking, till her father's cottage came into view. She said, "Come in, sir, and meet my father, and for to please him, play the foggy dew." So I played the blackbird and the stack of barley, Rodney's glory and the foggy dew. She sang each note like an Irish linnet, and the tears they flowed from her eyes of blue. She wore no jewels, no costly diamonds, no paint nor powder, no She wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulder she wore a Galway shawl. It was early, all in the morning, when I hit the road for old Donegal. She said, "Goodbye, sir," and then she cried, and my heart remained with her Galway shawl. She wore no jewels, no costly diamonds, no paint nor powder, no nothing at all. She wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulder she wore a Galway shawl. And around her shoulder she wore a Galway shawl. Thank you. Michelle, would this be a good time to send the plates around? So we're gonna, if it's okay, we're gonna do a freewill offering in support of the Inverary Church. So thank you for coming out and supporting both my musical endeavors, but also the wonderful work that the church does here. I'm going to switch back over to the Irish bouzouki, and I'll do a song for you called the Raggle Taggle Gypsy-O while you're getting settled there. If you've never seen me or anybody play this type of instrument, this is called an Irish bouzouki. If you want to know the history of it, come see me after and be prepared to be inundated. It's got an interesting story. It's really an instrument that's only been around since the early 1970s. And it does have a rather strange, it's a somewhat anachronistic name, Irish bouzouki, because there's an older instrument called a Greek bouzouki, and this was based on that. But it's in the mandolin family. If you're familiar with a mandolin, it's like a really big mandolin. Okay, so this is called the Raggle Taggle Gypsy. Well, there were 3 old gypsies came to our hall door. They came brave and boldly, oh, and there's one sang high and the other sang low, and the lady sang the Raggle Taggle Gypsy, oh. It was upstairs and downstairs the lady went, put on her suit of leather robe. It was the cry all around the door, she's away with the Raggle Taggle Gypsy, oh. Well, it was late that night when the Lord came in, inquired for his lady, oh. The servant girl, she replied to the Lord, she's away with the Raggle Taggle Gypsy, oh. saddle for me milk white steed, me big horse is not speedy, oh. Tonight I'll ride to the wide open field, and it's there that I'll spy my lady, oh. So he rode east and he rode west, he rode north and south also. It was when he rode to the wide open field, it was there that he spied his lady, oh. Oh no, why did you leave your house and your land? Why did you leave your money, oh? And why did you leave your only wedded lord to be off with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh? Oh no, what do I care for me house and me land? What do I care for money, oh? And what do I care for me only wedded lord? I'm away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Last night you slept in a goose feather bed, with blankets drawn so comely, oh. Tonight you lie in a wide open field, in the arms of the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Oh no, what do I care for a goose feather bed? What do I care for blankets, oh? Sure, and what do I care for me only wedded lord? I'm away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. For you rode east and I rode west, you rode high and I rode low. I'd rather have a kiss from the yellow gypsy's lips than all of your cash and your money, oh. Well, there were three old gypsies came to our hall door. They came brave and boldly, oh. And there's one sang high and the other sang low, and the lady sang a raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Thank you. So I mentioned that most of the songs are quite old. I said two are more contemporary. This is one of the contemporary ones, and one unknown. But this one was written by a wonderful singer-songwriter named Robbie O'Connell, and I discovered this song from a friend of ours from Fogo Island, Aidan Foley. When we were there in 2019 and spent the month of August, he lent us this CD, and we listened to it all the time. It was Robbie O'Connell's CD, and it was the album title, I think, is called The Humorous Ones, or The Humorous Songs. And so this one's, it's called, it's a song called Hard to Say Goodbye, and he wrote it because he grew up in Ireland, but then he moved to the States to pursue music, and I think he's back, he's living in County Wexford, I think, now, but he does a lot of travel across the pond, as it were, and so this song was written partly as a just being frustrated with all the nonsense of air travel. So there's a lot about that, but then it's also there's an overarching feeling of wishing you could be two places at once, and so it's quite it's an amusing song, but it also has a really good heart. So I really wanted to record it. So it's called Hard to Say Goodbye. Well, I've been back home in Ireland just to visit some old friends, but the days had gone by quickly, it was time to leave again. And I had so many wild nights in the week or two that passed, I was almost glad that this would be the last. But I didn't sleep at all that night, I stayed up till the dawn. singing songs and playing tunes till everyone was gone. By then it was too late for me to go back home to bed, so I opened up another beer instead. Back across the ocean to my home, away from home. Glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. And I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. And I had one bag too many just as I was set to leave. I was loaded down with bacon and with sausages and tea, and I couldn't find my ticket as I'm walking out the door, till they empty all my bags out on the floor. On board the plane I sip a drink while waiting for the meal, just trying to keep my head from knowing how my stomach feels. There's a woman, baby right behind me, making sure that I won't sleep, and the flight's too full to find another seat. Back across the ocean to my home, away from home. Glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. And I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. I'm trying to fill out customs forms, but I can't find a pen. I'm swearing softly to myself I'll never fly again. There's a woman right in front of me, keeps playing with the seat, and someone nearby never washed their feet. But I get to sleep at last just as the plane is touching down. I aged 10 years while waiting for the bags to come around. Finally I make it home and I'm barely settled when I'm already making plans to go again. Back across the ocean to my home, away from home. Glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. And I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. Back across the ocean to my home, away from home. Glad to be returning, but sad to have to go. And I'd like to find a way to be two places at one time. It's easy going back again, but it's hard to say goodbye. Thank you so much. Well, we've come to the last song of the album, and this is my other favorite Irish song. This one was written by a Patrick Kavanagh. John, is it? Look, Peter, John, somebody knows. It was a poet, and ended up falling into the same circles as Luke Kelly and the Dubliners in and around the 60s. And he wrote this beautiful love song for a girl that he never met. He just loved her from afar. I think she found out years later that it was about her, but he would see her walking to work, and so he just wrote this just beautiful love song. It's called Raglan Road. But I'll give it a go here. Patrick Kavanagh. All right. Oh, hey, I was right. On Raglan Road of an autumn day, I saw her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare that I might one day rue. I saw the danger and I passed along the enchanted way, And I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of a deep ravine where can be seen the worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such is happiness thrown away. I gave her gifts of the mind, I gave her the secret sign that's known to the artists who have known the true gods of sound and stone, and word and tint without stint. I gave her poems to say, with her own name there, and her own dark hair, like clouds over fields of May. On a quiet street where old ghosts meet, I see her walking now, away from me so hurriedly. My reason must allow that I had loved not as I should, a creature made of clay. When the angel woos, the clay he'd lose his wings at the dawn of day. Thank you very much. That's the album. Oh, thank you. All right, I'll give you one more. This one didn't make the cut of the album because I didn't know it at the time. In fact, I mentioned that I often learn songs when I'm driving in the car. Well, we did, John and myself and Noah and our friend Joe Sexton, we did a couple of Turpin's Trail shows in Gananoque. We did a bunch the weekend before St. Patrick's Day and then had some St. Patrick's Day stuff. But we did these concerts at the Fire Hall Theatre. We did an evening concert on the Friday night and then a Saturday matinee. And the Friday night was the day of that last horrible snowstorm. So the drive home was, well, the drive there wasn't too bad, but the drive home was not great. But the upside was I wanted to learn this song I'm going to play for you. So I kind of partly learned it on the way there, and I definitely got it on the way back because the drive to Gananoque took about an hour and a half. So it's not an Irish song. It's in the Irish canon. A lot of Irish singers and musicians play it, but it's a Civil War era American song. It's called "The Lakes of Pontchartrain." Does anybody know it? Couple, yeah. So I learned it off of a recording by a wonderful singer and guitar player, Paul Brady. The other reason I probably wouldn't have added it, other than the fact that I didn't know it at the time, was I'm borrowing very heavily from Paul Brady's version of it. And I was already borrowing fairly heavily on Paul Brady's version of Arthur McBride. I just think very highly of his guitar playing style, and does a lot of open tunings, and so I think that would have been a little too much muchness. It's also another one of these ballad story songs. And I think you can't have too many of those, but I may be in the I may be in the minority. So it's called The Lakes of Pontchartrain. The story is this fella, he's down in New Orleans, and it's around the time of the Civil War. So he's presumably part of the North, so he's kind of in enemy territory for him, and he's trying to get back home, but he doesn't have any money that works for him that they'll accept, and nobody's giving him the time of day. So he hops on a railroad, he's making his way home. He's trying to get to Jackson, but then he stops for the night, and he meets a Creole woman who takes him in and is very kind to him, and of course he immediately falls in love with her, as often happens in these songs. And he proposes to her, and she lets him down gently, but says that she's already betrothed to another. He's a sailor who's off at sea. But then he's so moved by her kindness, he says his farewell, and he ends the song by just saying that he every time he raises a glass, he'll be drinking to her kindness, and so it's kind of a pretty song. Or it will be if my guitar will ever get into tune. Any guitar players that this particular tuning is an open D tuning, which simply means that if you strum it without having any fingers down, plays a D chord. So, anyway, here's Lakes of Pontchartrain. Well, it was on one bright March morning I bid New Orleans adieu, and I took the road to Jackson town, me fortune to renew. I cursed all foreign money, no credit could I gain, which filled my heart with longing for the lakes of Pontchartrain. I stepped on board of a railroad car beneath the morning sun, and I rode the road till evening, then lay me down again. All strangers, they were no friend to me, till a dark girl toward me came, and I fell in love with a Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Well, I said, me pretty Creole girl, my money here's no good, and if it weren't for the alligators, I'd sleep out in the wood. You're welcome here, kind stranger. Our house, it's very plain, but we never turned a stranger out on the banks of Pontchartrain. Well, she took me into her mammy's house and treated me right well. Her hair upon her shoulders in jet black ringlets fell. To try to paint her beauty, I'm sure 'twould be in vain. So handsome was my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Well, I asked her if she'd marry me, but she said this could never be, for she ain't got a lover and he was far at sea. She told him she would wait for him, and true she would remain till he'd return to his Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. So fare thee well, me bonny old girl, I may never see you more, but I'll ne'er forget your kindness in the cottage by the shore, and at each social gathering a flowing glass of rain. And I'll drink a health to my Creole girl by the lakes of Pontchartrain. Thanks very much. Have a good night.